Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Black Men with Purpose podcast. For those of you joining us for the first time, it's a pleasure to have you with us. This is a safe space where we share our thoughts on a multitude of topics in hopes of helping Black males, young and not so young, overcome obstacles and challenges that can be hindrances to happiness, productivity, and success. We believe that through our experiences, successes, and failures, we can have some conversations that might help our Black males, or I'm sorry, help other Black males in their respective journeys through this thing we call life. On today's episode, our topic is going to be the importance of relationships. And we're going to start that off by having a discussion regarding the tragic murder of Tyre Nichols. I imagine all of you have heard the details at this point, but if not, I will provide a brief, nondescript overview. On January 7th in Memphis, Tennessee, at approximately 8:30 p.m., Tyre Nichols was stopped on what we later found to be a bogus, reckless driving pullover or whatever you want to call it. Tyre was repeatedly assaulted by five black police officers, and he died 3 days later. Of course, there are many other details that we don't feel the need to delve into, but we want to kind of again broach this from a standpoint of relationships as well as the importance of what we as black men need to be doing to arrive safely and kind of get to our destinations, our intended destinations, alive, essentially. Now, I understand that, as in the case with Tyre, you can be adhering to all the laws and still it may not be enough. However, we still have to do our part and kind of leave the rest in God's hands. So, who wants to kind of jump off and get us going on this right now?
Well, I'll go ahead and jump in. I know we had discussed this last season about some of the things that we need to do. Honestly, to add on to what you said, they did finally relieve the cop that was tasing Tyre. They relieved him of his duties, and they also relieved three firefighting or paramedics from their duties as well. But the number one thing, man, is folks have got to realize, do what you have to do to get home alive. We've all been pulled over at some point in our lifetime, as adults. And even as a 50 some odd year old man, if I get pulled over, I never keep my wallet in my back pocket. I don't want to reach for anything. If I do have to reach for proof of insurance, I'm telling the police officer what I'm reaching for, and I don't make any sudden movements. I move slowly. I keep my wallet either in the door of my car or in the glove box, or not in the glove box, but in a cup holder where I can easily access it and they could see it right there in front of them in plain view that, yes, that is a wallet, not a weapon. And again, I move extremely slow. If they ask for something, I'm going to provide it. I understand as a black male, I am not given the privileges of being able to sit here and say, well, what's the reason you pulled me over, or what is your articulable suspicion that I've committed a crime? I'm not trying to do any of that. I want to be getting home to my wife. I want to talk to my daughters. I want to talk to my family. And I don't want to be talked about at that point because something happened because I didn't give 100% pure unadulterated compliance. So I'd rather have to go through the long process of, if I have to go to court, I'd rather go to court and be tried by 12 than carried by six pallbearers. So the main thing is, we have to be smarter. We have to understand that these are difficult times. All police officers are not bad. There are some real good police officers. We know some real good police officers. There are police officers in our families, but we just have to make sure that we do what is necessary, even if we think it's insane or we think it's crazy that we're going through that type of stuff. We still need to do what is necessary to get home alive, because again, our families need us. That young man he was literally young enough to be all of our sons, and I picture what would have happened. How would I feel if that was me in the position of that his parents are in? What if that was one of my daughters? What if that was, my daughter-in-law? What if that was my future son-in-law? How would I feel? I don't want to go through that. I want to put them through that. So I feel like I'm starting to ramble. So I'm going to yield the floor to whoever wants to go next.
All right, I'll jump in. Yeah, uh, another tragic incident. Oh,
We lost you, bro.
y'all can't hear me?
Got you now.
Okay. Yeah, and and it's sad that it continues to happen. Uh, and so the one thing that that I think about whenever I hear about an incident is the why behind it all. And we've have conversations with probably our own children, family members, uh, and learned ourselves. Growing up in the environments we grew up in, it is about whatever you can do to get home safely, right? And then you deal with the fallout from that afterwards. But just get home safely, uh, and of course, not knowing any of the details other than what they've shown on the video. And I personally have not watched the video from start to finish, just the excerpts that they've shown. Uh, and it's just tragic. Uh, but I would say to any uh, black men out there, uh, to know that, like Ray said, not all law enforcement is bad, and no matter what, you have to do what you need to do to get home safely. Uh, I do think that the incident, every time one happens, it screams of police reform in some shape, form, or fashion. Uh, you know how they policed in the 1960s may not be effective today. And of course, I understand, because I always say that anyone that carries a weapon for a job, that's a pretty dangerous job. You know, uh, but I also know that you have to have a certain level of empathy to do those jobs and be effective at them. Uh, I just hate that a family is mourning the death of a loved one at the hands of law enforcement today. And I just hope that our elected officials, as well as the public at large, can have a conversation about how we do this differently and better, understanding the public safety aspect as well as the individual treatment, uh, and the whole belief that you're innocent until proven guilty of something. You know, a lot of times, these young men that die at the hands of law enforcement, they never get their day in court. You know, if they are being arrested and charged with something. So I just hope that we can have that conversation, as we need to have many conversations about a lot of tough issues here in America today. And so, with that, I'll pass it over to one of the other brothers.
Yeah, let me hop in so I'm not going after Dr. Kev. uh, yeah, it's tragic, and we mourn the loss of another person that is lost to senseless violence. We talk about do justice and all of that, and he did this, he did that, but it's just like even guilty people don't deserve to get killed on the spot, and it's egregious in this situation, as it's been in so many other situations. So I don't want to sound like somebody without hope, but also, as a father of a young black man and a black man myself, we have to be realistic. I mean, politicians are aware this isn't a secret, and if this is a secret, it is the worst kept secret ever, you know.
Right.
I mean, the other night, a headlight went out in my car, and I got the setup on my car where it's like 4 bulbs, so it wasn't a big deal. It wouldn't have been anything, but I got so nervous about it once I realized it, because I realized it when I hit the lock, and once I realized it, like I got LJ and we went immediately home, and I was just like, whatever we gotta do, we'll do something else, or whatever. Not to get too deep into that, but like I immediately went to AutoZone the next morning and replaced that headlight because, man, if I can avoid it, I don't want to get stopped by the police, and I don't have anything to hide. My everything is up to date, registration, insurance, and everything. And I'm not driving around under the influence of nothing, but I still I don't want to take that risk at all. And I think so as a community, if we talk about relationships, we have to have empathy for each other because we know that this is something that we're facing. If it, like Ray said, it could be his daughter, his son, it can be our brothers and our sisters, our cousins, our, nephews and nieces. And so empathy, because this is a real situation, and maybe we feel like we've gotten to a point where we live somewhere, we have some kind of status where it doesn't affect us as much. But I promise you, we know somebody personally that it impacts disproportionately. Our mental health, and I love what Rod said. Like, I haven't watched the video. I will not. There are several high profile videos that have happened in the last 2 to 3 years. I don't need to watch them. I know what happened, and I don't need to watch for this, and that, because whatever argument you have, somebody ended up dead at the end of it. So there's like nothing else for me to talk about. So I think we have to be careful and cautious and empathetic about our own mental health in situations like this. And I think it behooves us to be wary. Like, yes, I would like to see reform. I would like to see, because all of us are in the military. Somebody act up in the military. We don't go on this whole, well, the Air Force isn't bad, it's just a few bad. No, we fixed the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't go into this PR campaign trying to say, well, there are good airmen out there. Obviously, they're good airmen. And because they're good airmen, we need to fix these problems. And obviously, we know it's some stuff that gets by. This is America. So, but, we need to operate like the threat that really is out there, and the vigilance. And it's sad, but I can't keep my son safe based off hoping the system will change. I got to live as if the system really is what it is every day. So
Yeah, and I don't have a ton, honestly, to add. I think the three of you really covered all the bases. Honestly, I'll just say a couple of things. Yeah, one, without going down a rabbit hole of it, I honestly don't think the establishment of law enforcement can be reformed. Um, it's I really don't. I think we need a revolution, not reformation. But we can maybe always have a discussion about that offline or some other time. But I mean, when you think about the fact that the whole institution of policing or law enforcement came from slavery, right? So, I mean, how do you reform that? That's you can't reform that. There has to be, again, a revolution. Something has to be done about that. But again, I agree with everything that you all said um, regarding what we have to do, right? We can't all that, oh, I'm gonna be a man, we're gonna man up, and you're not gonna do this and you're not gonna do that. It can't be about that, right? When you see what's going on out there, you see how we as black men and black women as well, I mean, obviously Sandra Bland and many other women as well, black women, but certainly we as black men, we have to do what is necessary. If that means biting your tongue, I don't care if you have to bite your tongue off because what a cop is saying is wrong, and that you didn't do anything to get pulled over. Show them your ID, show them driver's license, do what you need to do, and worry about, as Rod and Ray said, and I think John as well, we can worry about the fallout later, right? If you need to go and file something against a specific police officer later, do that. But in the moment, you do what's being asked of you. And don't try to be, oh, I'm a big man, I'm grown man, whatever, however you want to put that. No, just do what's necessary to get to your destination safely. Um, and so, and I, and since we are talking about relationships tonight, I really hope that, and I've seen it in a few places. I know, I think Cherry Hill, in a few other places in New Jersey. I know in some other places around the country, have some kind of police, um, you know, reach out or whatever that they do within the communities, and try to really get to know the people in the community. They've done that. They established those programs to try to get to know the community better, because supposedly, and it seems to be working in some of these places, if you know the people, right, that you are supposedly policing, right, and that you're serving because you're there to protect and serve, if you get to know them a little bit better, right, who they are, get to know their families, where they come from, what they're about, then it's more meaningful to you as a police officer, or you should be more caring, right? They're not just somebody who jaywalked or ran a red light or whatever the case is, right? You know this person, and you can actually have some conversations with them instead of maybe doing some of the things that have been done in the past. So I really hope to see some more of those sorts of things, some of these outreach programs going on, so that police can establish kind of better community relationships. Um, and so, if no one else has anything on that specific topic, we can kind of move on and really delve into relationships. Anybody else have anything they want to say about that before we do move on?
Yeah, I wanted to jump in real quick. I want to make sure that I'm clear in my thoughts. Um, we have Everybody realizes that the cops are people too. Like I said, there are some damn good cops out there. Um, the same way that we are fearful about getting home safely, there are a lot of them that are fearful of getting home safely because their lives may not be as valued as they would hope. The same way we feel like our lives aren't being valued as well. So, again, at least if we're acting accordingly and just doing what we have to do to get home alive, then that cop can hopefully relax a little bit, say, okay, this person is being compliant, I don't have to worry about this person doing anything crazy, I'm going to get home alive as well. So I just want to look at it from both sides of the coin. Again, I'm not trying to wash away anything that those cops did. They were dead wrong. I've never watched the video. I never will watch the video. I don't want to hear of any of the details, and I've gotten into some heated discussions with some folk about that, but I just don't want to hear the details. But I do want to recognize that, again, these cops are human, and, a lot of them are operating in a state of fear because they're worried that they're going to be killed as well. Like we are worried that we're going to be killed. So with that being said, I'll yield again.
Anybody else?
So I just wanted to say one last thing. So in light of everything that's taken place, I would say that, what the Memphis police chief has done by being very proactive, investigating and evaluating the actions of the officers, and then taking action herself. I hope that resonates as they continue in that community to go through the process, to at least understand that they are leaning forward and trying to do what they believe is right and fair in that case. But it's just really unfortunate that someone, again, had to die while in custody of police officers. Thanks.
And I'm really doing my best to not go down a rabbit hole here. I truly, truly, truly am. And Rod, you're right.
If you didn't, I would have.
Yeah, Man, I agree with you. I think it's awesome that they are doing what they're doing, right? That they took immediate action and all of that. But man, I'm trying not to go here. But there's racism in how they did that, even because when you think about it, even though those 5 cops were dead wrong, and I do believe that they're going to get what they deserve, but they were 5 black cops, which is why I believe they moved as fast as they did. When have you seen white cops? Usually, when a white cop does this, they are at this point, they are suspended with pay. Within 19 days of all of this going down, the pullover, Tyree dying, they were not only fired, they have been charged. All that went on in 19 days. And I have to believe that happened because they were black. You don't see that happening with white cops. You just don't. So yes, the way that this went down is the way that it was supposed to go down, but it should go down that way all the
all
time,
the
no
time.
matter the race of the police officer. It should not matter, right? It should not matter.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
gets stickier. The white cop that tased him, that was there hoping, that said, "I hope they stomp his." And again, this is transcript. I didn't watch the video. They just started putting his name out a couple of days ago. So finally, they put out a report today that he's been released. But
Right.
they didn't say he got fired or charged. They said, "Oh, he got released at the same time the other ones did." No, they got fired and indicted.
Indicted
And
Yeah.
quickly.
The term they used was he was relieved of
he
duty.
was relieved of duty. And I do appreciate, the police chief's statement, but she was over the Red Dogs in Atlanta, and she created that
Right.
Scorpion unit that
Yeah.
does that, and she had complaints about it. So it's a great PR thing, and I'm I'm not doing this to try to load on there, but if we want to talk about unfair, what's unfair is that they can clear their name in court potentially, or whatever is going to happen, and Tyree is dead.
That's
Mhm.
absolutely.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
we can go into all of the conversation about, hey, they're going through, as somebody, I've had guns pulled on me by cops several times, and growing up, it was normal because they always did crazy stuff. Man, they used to call us the N word so often when I was little. I thought I had it on my shirt, but you know, when I got old, and then when I was a teen and they pull us over for stuff, that was just the way it was. But to get pulled over in uniform, you're a senior master sergeant in the Air Force, and they pull a gun on you, so that's cool that they scared to get home too, but I'm not armed. You know what I'm saying? All
Right.
I'm armed with is black skin. That's it. And
Yeah.
my man was agitated and I did nothing,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that, and not that we're divided, I guess, in any way, because I do agree with
Mhm.
what Ray and Rod said regarding police officers. I'm just in a different headspace about it. That's all. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm just not in that headspace to defend police officers. I get that there are good cops out there. I get that there are cops who may legit feel threatened, but I just I'm in a headspace with everything that's been going on that, quite frankly, I don't give a damn. I care about us as black men trying to get home safely and not being killed by these cops and the institution that is law enforcement. And they are part of that, even the ones who are afraid and supposedly good. So that's just where my headspace is.
Right.
Again, I'm not trying to dispute what you all said. I'm not, because I
Right.
get that it's the case. But again, just not where I'm at.
I agree with you, bro. And again, I don't didn't take anything that you just said personally. I'm with you. I just wanted to put out there again. There are good cops, and I understand. I've talked to some cops that say that they're afraid to get home. But again, in this case, it seems like we're always seeing black men being executed. The cop is the judge, jury, and executioner, and nothing ever happens, or very little it happens, if anything. So again, I totally get what you're saying. I'm trying not to get to that headspace where I don't give a damn, but I'd be lying if I say I wasn't there with you. But I'm just trying to look at it from both sides of the coin, even though it's not the black cops that are typically, you know, like you guys said, these guys were fired and indicted within 19 days, and that never happens to a white cop ever. You know, and like John said, they just released the guy's picture today that I remember, you know, showing this is the detective that tased Tyre. And like I said, then a little bit later on, it says, okay, well, he's been relieved of duties. Okay, well, has he been indicted? Not to my knowledge. So again, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. So
They moved fairly fast on the George Floyd case, but that was different, right? They kind of had no choice in that one. That one was a powder keg, and they had no choice but to move as fast as they did, I think, on that one. But again, 9 times out of 10, when it's a white cop, that doesn't happen. Not what just happened here, and them moving that fast. But yeah, we just did what we said we were not going to do. I know, and I'm sorry that I think I'm the one who took us down that road. I just, yeah, I didn't realize that all that was going to come up. It did. I guess it happened for a reason. Hopefully, it'll help somebody in some way. I don't know, but I guess we will, move on to something a little less powder keggery. So as Brother Rod so eloquently put it in some back and forth that we had today, relationship